I'm strong. I'm strong. Strong.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy CMB checking in. And guys, I was getting ready to call it a night, and I made the mistake, of course, of hopping on Twitter. And I see something that I just had to come on here and talk about before I lay my head down and go to sleep tonight. You know, I talked about boxing media getting too close. They shouldn't get too close to these fighters. If you're an opinionated media, you shouldn't have these close relationships with fighters. I talked about that in the last video I did about Showbiz the Adult. And this situation that I'm looking at right now is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We're talking about Elie Seckbach. Elie Seckbach reporting. Now, you guys know today we found out that Gervonta Tank Davis is set to face off against YouTuber Jake Paul November the 15th in Atlanta on Netflix. A lot of people were disappointed in that, including Tank's fans, his own fan base. And I'm a part of his fan base. I like Tank Davis as a fighter. But I told you guys, and I'm going to say it again, it doesn't matter if I'm a fan of yours. If you're going to move funny, if you're going to do things that just don't sit right with boxing fans, then I'm going to have to call you out on it. And Tank's been moving funny, and you know, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. Everyone was hoping and wishing and praying that you would fight Lamont Roach next, because that fight was so controversial. You had to make that right. In my mind, as a fan, I think you needed to make that right. But yet you opted for the circus. You opted to fight Jake Paul next because it's all about the money, which I get. You know, you're a prize fighter, but you don't care anything about the legacy of the sport. You don't care about what your fans want. It's all about you. So you receiving that backlash, I think, is warranted. Now, Lamont Roach, of course, responded to the news. He wrote, "Told ya, LOL, duck emojis." And that's fine and dandy and all. But Elie Seckbach reporting hopped onto the conversation here, trying to cape for Gervonta Tank Davis. And this is, like I said, this is what I'm talking about. You guys know Elie Seckbach has a tight relationship with Gervonta Tank Davis, but yet he's a reporter. He's compromising himself. He's compromising his own integrity in this instance. He writes here at Lamont Roach, "Tank's about to get paid. What are you doing next?" So Lamont Roach responds back. He says, "F is you talking to me for, Ninja? LOL, what are you doing next, Elie? Zipping up his pants and getting off your knees?" And I think Elie Seckbach deserved that. He deserved that because he should not be sticking his nose in Lamont Roach's business. He should not be on here caping for Tank. He should be reporting things because he's a reporter. So let's see what else he says here. Elie Seckbach responds, "No one's ducking you. Let's see if you can beat any top 10 fighters, any top 10 fighter, 130 or 135, without getting gifts like you got with Hector Garcia." So there's Elie again, you know, going at Lamont Roach because he wants to cape for Tank. So someone else responds here. He says, "At Seckbach, supposed to be advocate of the sport, and this is your response to a fighter. That response is giving fanboy vibes." Bingo. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Fake reporting, acting just like the mainstream media, compromising yourself, and it stinks to high heaven. It stinks to high heaven. Instead of being honest, you're sitting here and you're trying to cape for Gervonta Tank Davis, and when you know this is not what the fans wanted. You know, you want to bring up, you know, he's making money and all this, but he needed to rectify this situation with Lamont Roach. People wanted to see him fight Lamont Roach. People wanted to see him fight guys like Shakur Stevenson. People wanted to see him fight guys like Devin the Dream Haney. People wanted to see him fight guys like Teofimo Lopez, not fight a YouTuber. No respect to Jake Paul. You know, Jake Paul's got his own lane. He's doing his thing. But a guy who is basically a novice who fights at cruiserweight, fighting a 135-pound fighter, it's a clown show. And the crazy thing is, people are going to watch it because it's going to be on one of the biggest platforms in the world. It's so odd. It's so weird that's, you know, it's probably going to sell. But what does that do for the boxing fans, the real boxing fans, the people who want to see the real fights, who are really entrenched in the fights? What is that going to do for Gervonta Tank Davis's legacy? Nothing. He hasn't unified anything. He hasn't done anything in the sport that we expect the great fighters to do, because he doesn't care. It doesn't matter to him, and he doesn't care about his fans. So why should his fans care about him if he doesn't care about us? This is nuts, man. And Elie Seckbach, you should be ashamed of yourself. This is why, like I said, YouTubers who are opinionated should not be getting in bed and having these close ties to certain fighters. They just shouldn't. You can't serve two masters. You're either going to have to do your job, or, you know, you're going to be a fanboy or part of the entourage. Pick one. But anyway, that's my rant. I got to get to sleep. You guys let me know what you think about this craziness in the comment section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.